Pierre Poilievre says the left are authoritarians. This from the man who backed an unlawful trucker convoy that cost Ottawa businesses tens of millions of dollars, who stood on an overpass waving as diesel fumes filled his own city.
The same guy who pressured a party member to resign just so he could grab the spotlight.
He's calling us a threat to freedom? Puh, that's protection with a capital P.
While he's busy smearing journalists and scientists, his allies are importing the MAGA movement straight onto Canadian campuses.
Exactly, Deb. The same week Poilievre is talking about restoring freedom, U.S. Republicans were exposed in leaked chats joking about gas chambers and praising Hitler. And instead of condemning it, what did they do? Well, their vice president brushed it off as pearl clutching.
And his advice to his sons? It wasn't, don't be cruel. It was, just be careful what you post. That's not morality, everyone. That is early media training.
Now, those same values are trickling north through Jamil Javani's Restore the North tour, a MAGA-style campus roadshow dressed up as free speech. It's the same model Charlie Kirk used to radicalize U.S. campuses. If that's the kind of freedom they're selling, Canada's not going to buy it.
Poilievre keeps saying Canada's government is authoritarian while cozying up to people who admire real authoritarians. He calls journalists liars, he dismisses courts as biased, he attacks scientists for doing their jobs, and attacks the media. That's not populism, that's the early language of every strong man in history.
And remember, this is the same man who once cheered a protest that shut down Parliament Hill for weeks. It threatened our Prime Minister, terrified residents, and left taxpayers footing the cleanup bill. When he says freedom, he means his freedom, not yours.
He's using the same emotional bait that Trump used. Fear, anger, and a promise that only he can fix it. When he talks about gatekeepers, he means anyone who checks his power. It's the same framing that turned American politics into a loyalty test, and now we're watching it metastasize here. It's coming one soundbite at a time.
And let's be honest, the Young Republican leak wasn't a bunch of kids being edgy online. These were party leaders and elected staffers, trading racist slurs and Holocaust jokes like memes. Messages saying, everyone that votes no goes to the gas chamber and I love Hitler.
These weren't anonymous trolls either. One was a state senator, another a communications aide to a Republican attorney general. One bragged about designing the best psychological torture methods known to man. That's not humor. That's how every atrocity begins, with people laughing at the victims before they target them.
PBS quoted Vice President Vance word for word. He said people were overreacting, that stupid jokes shouldn't ruin lives, and that he'd warn his sons not to post online. No empathy, no condemnation, just a tutorial on hiding your hate better.
And let's be honest, these leaders aren't condemning it because it mirrors their own values. They believe it. You can hear it in their speeches and see it in their policies, and you can feel it in how they treat anyone who doesn't fit their mold. The pattern is the same one history already taught us to fear. When people in power excuse hate, it doesn't stay as words, it grows into action.
Just look south of the border. The scapegoating, the rallies, the propaganda, it's the same chain reaction that led to 1939. The Holocaust didn't start with camps. It started with leaders normalizing cruelty and ordinary people looking away.
And that's why silence is never neutral. When those in power stop calling evil by its name, they're not just bystanders, they're partners. It's time to call it out.
And that same silence is echoing here. Jamil Javani's Restore the North tour is lifted straight from Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA, the organization that turned American campuses into culture war playgrounds. It claimed to defend free speech, but it's really about recruiting and filming outrage for clicks.
In the US, those clips went viral. Look, conservatives are the victims. Now Canada's the test market again. They'll hold a talk, bait the reaction, and post the footage and say, see, the left can't debate. It's not about conversation, it's about farming our division.
And Poilievre benefits either way, right? If people stay quiet, he wins by default. And if people protest, He points and says, "See, cancel culture. It's a trap designed for headlines, not healing."
The pattern's always the same. Accuse your opponents of exactly what you're doing. Claim victimhood, then demand power to restore freedom. Every authoritarian has used it, from Europe in the 1930s to America in the 2020s.
They don't need tanks. They have podcasts, hashtags, and algorithms. They repeat the word freedom until it loses meaning. Then they redefine it to mean obedience. When Poilievre calls the left authoritarians, he's following that script word for word.
And Canadians who are exhausted by inflation and chaos, they start nodding along. And that's how democracy erodes. Not by a coup, but by comfort. People get tired of arguing, so they stop paying attention. And that's when the extremists slip in.
And you know what? They'll never admit it. The reason they don't condemn this stuff is because they are this stuff. They're not turning a blind eye to racism. They're the ones normalizing it. When you praise dictators, joke about gas chambers, and then call yourself defenders of freedom, that is not confusion, people. That is conviction.
And the gaslighting is relentless. They tell you the left are authoritarians, while they're the ones trying to muzzle teachers, silence journalists, and rewrite history books. It's the oldest authoritarian playbook in the world. You accuse your opponents of exactly what you're doing, so people stop trusting their own eyes.
And you know what? It's working. People used to value fairness, and they're now repeating slogans that make absolutely no sense. They've been trained to believe lies because repetition feels safer than reality. If you've got friends or family falling for it, don't yell at them. Ask questions. Ask why they trust people who keep lying to them.
Gaslighting only works when no one challenges it. Once someone calmly says, "That's not true, and here's the proof," the spell can start to break. We've got to start breaking those spells one conversation at a time.
Vance's shrug told every extremist out there, "You're fine, just stay quiet." And that's the same message creeping into our politics here. Keep it polite, keep it Canadian. But polite extremism is still extremism.
Look at the language being used. Sovereignty, take back control, global elites. Danielle Smith uses it, Poilievre uses it. Even influencers pushing conspiracy content use it. It sounds harmless, but it's code. They swapped the American flag for a maple leaf and called it patriotism.
And once that rhetoric takes hold, the laws, they follow it. Restrictions on education, cuts to public broadcasting, attacks on academic freedom. It's a slow burn, and it's happening while we're busy arguing about gas prices.
So the antidote isn't panic, it's participation. Talk to your family. If your uncle sends you a meme blaming wokeness for the price of lettuce, ask where it came from. Track the money and follow the domain names. Most of them trace right back to the same US outfits that fund the noise.
Democracy has never been a spectator sport. It's boring, it's messy, and it's built on showing up. And we need Canadians of every single stripe who are willing to disagree without dehumanizing. Because once hate feels normal, freedom, it's already gone.
So Saturday is No King's Day. It's a reminder that no politician, premier, or party owns this country. Freedom isn't a flag, it's a responsibility.
And if you want to see how this same ideology is shaping trade and sovereignty, well, then you should watch our last episode, Canada Strikes Back, Trump's Tariffs and the Sovereignty Showdown. The same forces dividing us socially are trying to corner us economically.
So make sure to keep talking to one another. Don't just shake your head at the news. Show up. Write the universities giving Jamil Javani a stage. Tell them free speech doesn't mean platforming imported hate.
And if that tour rolls through your city, be there. Peaceful, loud, and smart. Hold signs, ask questions, and film it all. The point isn't to fight, it's to show that Canada still stands for truth over tribalism.
And talk to your kids and grandkids and nieces and nephews, especially the young men, the campus bros who think this is just edgy humor. They're the targets of this pipeline, and they're being sold a fantasy of victimhood. Ask them what freedom really means, and ask them who benefits when they turn on their classmates instead of questioning their leaders.
Because the US, they waited too long. They're protesting now, but they're protesting from the rubble. Canada still has a chance to stop the slide before it starts.
So, check the links below for where No King's Day is near you. Listen, write, talk, but don't stay silent. Silence is what authoritarianism counts on, and conversation is how Canada can fight back.
And if you listen this far, you already know what's at stake. Don't scroll past it, act on it.
Share this episode with someone who still thinks it can't happen here. Send it to a friend on campus or to one of your kids or nieces or nephews. Start the conversation before someone else fills the silence with hate.
And sign the petitions. Email the schools hosting Jamil Giovanni's tour. Tell them Canadians are watching and we expect better.
And join the protest this weekend. It's peaceful, loud, and unified. It's all around the world. Bring a sign, bring a friend, bring your voice. And all of the links are in the description below.
And don't forget, hit subscribe, not for us, but because independent voices only grow when you help push them past the algorithm.
Authoritarianism feeds on silence. So talk, share, act, and remind everyone around you, freedom isn't a slogan, it's a responsibility.
Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.